At just 23 years old, Jude Bellingham has become one of the biggest names in world football. But what if the biggest story about him was never the goals, the trophies, or the transfer fees? What if the truth people have been sensing all along wasn't about talent at all, but about the pressure hidden behind every smile, every celebration, and every perfect performance? Today, we're looking beyond the headlines to understand why millions believe Jude's greatest battle has never been on the pitch. Jude Victor William Bellingham was born on June 29, 2003, in Stourbridge, England. Long before the stadium lights, before the cameras followed his every move, he was just a young boy with a football at his feet and an extraordinary dream. Those closest to him often describe him as mature, beyond his years, calm, focused, hungry, the kind of person who never seemed satisfied with simply being good enough. And maybe that's exactly where this story begins. Some footballers slowly grow into the spotlight. Jude seemed to be pushed into it almost overnight. Every game brought new expectations. Every touch of the ball became another opportunity for the world to judge him. Fans celebrated him, pundits praised him, opponents feared him, but with every compliment came another invisible weight resting on his shoulders. When people watched Jude play, they saw confidence, they saw composure, they saw a player who looked like he'd been competing at the highest level for decades instead of just a few years. But confidence and pressure often wear the same face. The difference is invisible to everyone except the person carrying it. That may be the biggest thing fans have suspected for years. Success doesn't erase pressure. Sometimes it multiplies it. Think about it. Imagine being expected to dominate matches before most people have even finished university. Imagine every mistake becoming a headline, every injury becoming breaking news, every quiet performance becoming a debate about whether you're overrated. That's not just football anymore. That's life under a microscope. Jude has spoken publicly on several occasions about the importance of staying grounded, trusting his family, and focusing on constant improvement rather than outside noise. He hasn't claimed to have some shocking hidden secret. Instead, what many people have noticed is something more relatable. Behind the remarkable maturity is someone who understands that greatness demands sacrifices most people never see. And maybe that's the real revelation. The world often mistakes calmness for comfort. But calm people can be carrying enormous pressure. As Jude climbed through Birmingham City's academy, then made the bold move to Borussia Dortmund, many questioned whether he was too young. Critics wondered if the leap was too big. Yet he didn't answer with interviews. He answered with performances. That became a pattern. Questions came about football answered. Doubts appeared, his work silenced them. Still, every success only raised expectations higher. One incredible match became the standard. One brilliant season became the minimum. Soon, simply playing well wasn't enough. Any more people expected perfection. That's a dangerous place for any athlete. Football fans love heroes. But heroes are still human. We celebrate spectacular goals without seeing the lonely training sessions behind them. We applaud trophies without thinking about birthdays missed, friendships interrupted, holidays shortened, and constant travel that slowly becomes normal. The glamorous picture shown online rarely captures the reality. Jude's journey reminds us of that. His professionalism has often impressed teammates and coaches. They speak about preparation, discipline, attention to detail. Those qualities don't appear by accident. They're built through repetition, sacrifice, and an almost relentless desire to improve. Sometimes, I wonder if that's what truly separates elite athletes from everyone else. Not talent alone, but the willingness to repeat difficult things long after the excitement disappears. There's something fascinating about Jude's personality. Even during emotional moments, he often appears measured, controlled, focused on the next challenge instead of celebrating the last victory for too long. Some people call it maturity, others call it professionalism. But there's another way to see it. Perhaps it's survival. Because when the football world constantly moves to the next headline, standing still isn't really an option. Every season brings new expectations, new critics, new comparisons, new pressure. And somehow, Jude keeps moving forward. His transfer to one of the world's biggest clubs only intensified everything. Suddenly, he wasn't simply representing himself anymore. He represented history, massive expectations, and millions of supporters expecting immediate success. Most players would need years to adapt. Jude looked ready from the beginning. Or, at least that's what we saw. Because appearances can be misleading. Elite athletes become experts at hiding. Exhaustion not because they're dishonest, because it's part of the job. Fans rarely remember how difficult consistency truly is. It's easy to produce one brilliant performance. It's much harder to produce 20, or 50, or 100. That's where careers are built. Not during magical moments, but during ordinary days when nobody is watching. The training sessions, the recovery work, the discipline, the constant decision to improve. Those moments never trend online. Yet they define everything. This is why so many supporters connect with Jude beyond football. Yes, they admire the skill, but they also admire the mindset, the professionalism, the willingness to take responsibility even at an age when many people are still discovering who they are. That's inspiring, not because it makes him perfect, because it makes him disciplined, and discipline often looks boring until the results become extraordinary. Of course, no career is without setbacks, injuries, criticism, disappointing matches. They're unavoidable. Every great player experiences them. The difference is how they respond. Jude's response has usually been simple. Keep working, keep learning. Keep improving. No dramatic speeches, no endless excuses, just football. That approach says something powerful about character. In a world obsessed with instant reactions, patience becomes a competitive advantage. Maybe that's the lesson hidden inside his journey. We're constantly searching for dramatic revelations, huge secrets, unexpected confessions. But sometimes the truth is much quieter. Sometimes the biggest revelation is realizing that extraordinary people aren't fearless, they're simply committed enough to keep moving despite the pressure. That's something many of us can understand, even outside football. Whether it's school, work, family, or personal goals. Pressure exists everywhere. The challenge isn't eliminating it, it's learning how to carry it. Jude Bellingham's story isn't just about football anymore. It's about responsibility, arriving earlier than expected. It's about living with enormous expectations. It's about discovering that success doesn't make life easier, it simply changes the challenges. Maybe that's what fans have sensed all along. Behind the confidence is discipline. Behind the calmness is responsibility. Behind the talent is relentless work. No miracle, no shortcut. Just years of preparation, meeting opportunity, and perhaps that's the most meaningful truth of all. Because one day, the goals will stop, the trophies will gather dust, new stars will emerge. That's football. It always moves forward. But character lasts much longer than statistics. Long after people forget individual matches, they'll remember how someone carried themselves under pressure. They'll remember resilience. Professionalism, humility. If Jude Bellingham continues on this path, those qualities may become his greatest legacy, not just the goals he scores or the medals he wins, but the example he sets for a generation, learning that real greatness isn't about never feeling pressure, it's about refusing to let pressure define you. And maybe that's what we all suspected from the very beginning.